Tony Stark is like, what is he doing down there? And Carol Danvers, she's like, he's doing that voodoo that he do. You know? And this series is funny.
The writing in it is good.
The writing for the writing for Spider-Man is always funny. I've always loved that. The writing for X-Men, it depends on which character. You know, with their writing is funny. The writing for Flash has always been funny.
But Flash actually has the worst villains out of any superhero. They have so many villains in his Flash. Well, they're really terrible villains.
Well, the Flash also is so OP. He's always been like, how do you, if he can move and you're standing still, how do you stop this dude? There's no way anybody should be a problem for him ever.
Right? If he can run around the Earth 7 times in a second, what the fuck are you gonna do?
Right, and then you only see little tiny glimpses on movies and shit at the ends where he was racing Superman or whatever that one. It's like, no, there is no race, dude. It's not even race. You're dude, the ultimate human that gets sucked up by the sun that does extra cool human.
There's always been this.
Dude is beyond light. You're not comprehending.
Dude, they were talking. Superman and Flash were talking, right? And Superman and Flash were talking, and Flash was talking. Superman was talking about how fast he is, and and they're always close in the race. And then Flash looked at Superman, and he said, "Clark, those are for charity." He was basically saying, "Dude, there's no way."
I literally go so fast they go to other universes, man. You're not getting
those are for charity. Yeah,
I can run back. Hey, I can run back in time. I can run so fast. It'll be next week, motherfucker.
Yeah. One thing I like about Flash is he does put people in his place. He said one time, Batman grabbed him and Flash looked at him and he said, "They were in plain clothes." And Flash said, "You touched me because I let you touch me. Understand that." And I was like, damn. He's telling you, Flash will beat your ass.
Yeah, I have fucking the ultimate heart here. I'm letting you do this. I could be a god. I could go that route. There's nothing that can stop me here. You can't stop me. Your realm of time and space doesn't work here. I can all y'all.
I can wiggle my hand into your chest.
Well, see now.
Go ahead.
Well, see now there's an argument that Flash is unbeatable, and I say, nowadays Iceman can beat Flash.
Freeze his ass.
Well, okay, first of all, Flash has the hardest problems with cold-based villains. Because cold slows down molecules.
Heat makes your shit slower, just a normal reaction time because it's cold around you. Cold will freeze your atom breaking ass.
Yeah. Cold slows down molecules. It slows your speed down. So,
but wait a second though. If somebody's a cold villain, couldn't Flash just be in the Bahamas in like a half a second?
Well, that's not Iceman. Here's the thing: not Iceman, not anymore.
No.
The Marvel has amped their mutants, so a lot of them are gods now. Like Storm. Okay, throughout the history of Marvel, Storm has had, not the history of Marvel, but X-Men, second generation, Storm has had a connection with magic, the white hair, the eye, the blue eyes. It's because her great-grandmother, Oshira, I think her name is, was a witch, and she actually trained Ilyana Rasputin magic, Colossus' sister. So in Limbo. So she's a witch, and now Storm is now reaching, and her witch powers and shit, or whatever you want to call it, magic stuff is starting to develop, and now she becomes coming to be OP.
So Storm is part.
It's already one thing to be able to control the weather at that level, where she's like an Omega level, and now she's getting magic too. Now Iceman.
Oh shit.
Just like when Beast turned blue and furry, and he's getting bigger and stronger. Now Iceman, he's become omnipresent in Earth's moisture.
Okay.
So this son bitch, he was talking to his father one time, and he was telling his father he can, right now, I can feel kids playing in the snow in Alaska. A fox going across the
I can see a polar bear.
Yeah.
I can see a polar bear at the North Pole trying to figure out how to open up a bottle of Coca-Cola.
People swimming in the pool in New York, in the indoor pool. His consciousness is touching all water.
Willie, I can feel the two niggas pissing off the bridge, and one of them just said, "And it's deep too."
Right. I have that album, Richard Pryor.
Exactly.
He's so now he just can't be killed because he can reform anyway. And he can make a bunch of clones of himself that fight along with him, and they're semi-autonomous. So they'll fight for him.
Sell it to all over the world in comic book form to get these theories across. It's crazy.
How about this one, you guys? I can see the tiny bull man going down the drain.
Well, here's a thought that you just made me think. They say that these movies, they say that in circles, we'll say esoteric circles, they say that they show you first what's going to happen, so they had all these alien movies in the 80s and 90s. There were so many alien movies, and now in the 2000s they're starting to tell you, hey, there's aliens here. They just prepared us through all the movies and shit, so when that look is coming.
So Will Smith is gonna smoke a cigar at the aliens.
No. So that's one of the like they know they're cheating everybody on Wall Street, and they show you these movies, like Wolf of Wall Street. They have to tell you. That's one of the things that people say in these esoteric circles is that the evil has to tell you they're doing evil, in order for them to get away with it. So here's the thing. Now that these superhero movies are becoming prevalent, and popular, you think that could be the next step?
Be showing metahuman type people.
Yeah, metahumans,
locked in a box somewhere.
And shit.
50 dudes are standing over nuclear weapons, pointing them at them like Looney Tunes.
No, dudes that had to work at nuclear plants, and having babies that with laser eyes.
Right?
They ain't telling us. They ain't telling us.
Oh no, telekinesis has been real the whole time.
Right.
Well, I do know, bro. You know about the remote viewing experiments the government used to do,
right? Remote viewing experiments that the government used to do.
In the 60s, the government had a program that was using psychics to look in on other governments. Remote viewing is the ability to sit and concentrate on a thing and be able to see it from a distance through your mind's eye. I've done it once or twice. And it's amazing when you can pull it off. But the problem is, it's hard to pull off when your motives are less than altruistic. A lot of those things are hard to do when you're doing it for, shitty reasons. And, you're doing it for the government, well, it's obviously a shitty reason. But they abandoned the project because technology had gotten so, you can just bug anybody instead of using these undependable ass people who might not tell you what is really going on, So they scrapped the program. But yeah, Google remote viewing U.S. government program, and it'll blow your mind.
Okay.
And it's just like the MK Ultra project, and most people know about that now.
What is this?
The MK Ultra? Okay. in the 60s.
Yeah, everyone's gonna know.
In the 60s, this is actually they talked about this on Archer, my favorite cartoon. But in the 60s,
another one Kelly would watch and tell me you have to watch this. I go,
What?
You gotta watch Archer. In the 60s, the government was snatching people off the street from homeless shelters, and from asylums, and they were using experiments they were using these different experiments trying to learn mind control. So the main things they were doing were electroshock therapy and LSD to learn mind control. They were using humans.
Electric.
They were
melting their brains.
Using on human subjects, unwilling, And here's one of the things that they don't tell you about when you look it up. But if you ever see the videos of the survivors of the MK Ultra project, and this is gonna blow your mind. She said she was locked in the room, and they would play this steady beat and this repetitive phrase over and over that she didn't believe in. She said, but by the time she was let out of that room, she wholeheartedly believed in this. She would die for this concept that she was told over and over again during a steady beat for I think she said it was months, for months straight. Okay. Wait, let me finish. Wait, let me finish. So this is mind control, right? So she's telling you how she was mind controlled. She totally believed in this thing, right? Okay. Okay, and it took her years to get out of that thought process and back to who she was, okay? Now, what is gangster rap? But a steady beat with 4 phrases repeated over and over again. Kill niggas, because they're specific about who to kill. Mm-hmm. Women ain't worth shit. Mm-hmm. Get your money and spend it as fast as possible buying the most expensive shit as possible. Mm-hmm. And drugs and alcohol are good for you. Either do it or sell it. Right. And every gangster rap song has those 4 elements. See? And a steady beat. So when you talk about mind control, you know, people don't pay attention. Music is mind control. If you don't believe me, in the 60s, people, what's her name? EARTHA KITT was excommunicated. You know, she wasn't able to come back until she did the Batman show. Her ass had to go to London to get her career going again, France and shit, because she couldn't get a gig in here because she spoke up about the black people on the front of the lines in the Vietnam War during the White House Women's meeting or whatever the fuck, dinner. Billie Holiday was shut down because she would stop singing Strange Fruit.
Right, Strange Fruit, yep. Hey, a couple weeks ago, popped up in the random thing on my YouTube Music was Nina Simone singing Strange Fruit, and I had to skip it because I wasn't ready to just cry all for the rest of the day. Because Nina Simone will put it on you, boy.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah. Shit, back in the 60s, if you remember, we had all these revolutionaries, you know, but what did our music say? Stand up and be counted. You know, our music was revolutionary. In the 80s, we started getting all these people who were listening to Public Enemy, Tribe Called Quest. Right. You know, and their minds were different. You know, they had to shut that shit down. They had to shut that shit down. You can't hear BEP.
What'd you replace conscious rap with mumble rap? So conscious rap, which was actually saying something, gets replaced with people not saying anything at all. Don't even make a mistake and say something. We're going to just mumble some bullshit and tell you to go drink some bullshit to a beat.
Right. I keep telling you, music is mind control.
Yeah, boy.
People don't pay attention. That's why I tell people don't go to sleep with your damn TV on. Don't go to sleep with your TV on. You know, because you don't know what's playing.
So, have you guys seen the movie Josie and the Pussycats?
Oh, hey, Tom, you're with us. Okay.
Yeah. Never seen the movie.
Josie and the Pussycats, the TV show. Tom.
No, not the TV show, the movie.
Yeah, I've never seen the movie. I remember the cartoon.
Tom, are you talking on speaker?
I'm in my car.
Okay, 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 that's fine. We'll deal with it. It's great. We'll work on it. So, Willie.
You're the one that's quiet.
No, me. Okay, but Willie's okay. But when I edit it later on, Willie's gonna be too loud. Sean, me, and Tom will be too soft. So, I'll just deal with it. All right, go ahead, Tom. Right. Josie and the Pussycats.
Josie and the Pussycats, the movie, is so underrated. And it totally goes into the backmasking of music and controlling the masses and telling them what to buy and what to do. And in the end, the movie is the full-on, like, trilateral commission, world leaders trying to, like, control the population. It is a fucking wonderful movie. It is so good. Totally underrated. Hilarious. It totally hits the scene.
Josie and the Pussycats, okay?
Like the movie They Live.
They live.
Yeah.
Except it's not. Yeah, it's obey and
that would
consume.
That'd be a fantastic double feature.
Yeah, at the drive-in, at the end, you see Will Smith telling the aliens to fuck off at Independence Day.
Man, our last drive-in closed. It hurt my heart.
Yeah, drive-ins are the best, man. I used to talk about that with my sister, going, "Yeah, you remember that shit, man? We would be little kids watching a 1976 Roger Corman fucking triple feature, and we're running around at the freaking swing set where our dad is
up until
not knowing where the 7 and 8-year-old kid are at the drive-in, a triple drive-in too, so they're everywhere. You know, there's people
up until just before the pandemic, we had a drive-in in Minnesota. There's still one in Wisconsin, and they were showing. When I first moved here, they were showing 3 movies, at the drive-in. 3 movies for $7 was the price, and kids were $1. You know, by the time they shut down, it was 2 movies for $8, and kids were $2. But that's still 2 movies for $8, kids $2, and we used to show up. The movie starts at 9. They open at 7. We would show up at 7. We'd be the first ones at the gate, you know, in that line. And we would go in, and by 7:15, the grill is lit. Everybody's out there barbecuing, you know, kids are playing football and frisbee and shit, tag or whatever. And, you know, by the time the food's ready, you know, and everybody's sitting there eating, you cool the grill down. By the time you get everything put up, the movie starts. You know, because you grill something that takes, you know, you spend an hour on the grill, no more than an hour. You know, in the second hour, you clean it up while everybody's eating and stuff. You're relaxing, having fun, clean it up slowly. And, you know, when the movie starts, everybody's ready. You're full. You're watching the movie. You got chips and shit. You can bring your own snacks. You bring your own drinks. You know, we bring beer. And now you get weed drinks. Now we bring weed drinks. You know, because we're in Minnesota, so you can buy THC drinks and shit. So we're just sitting, chilling, drinking THC drinks, watching the movies. So we were doing that. I miss it, man. And that was up until just before the pandemic. So we're talking like 2022? 2020? Right then, it was a great time. It was a great time. And if you didn't want to barbecue, you could stop at McDonald's and bring, you know, whatever the fuck you and your kids eat, you know, and bring that shit with you. Order pizza, pick it up.
Here's a good idea. I'm just crazy, whatever. But having a fucking place like that, maybe not as big as some of those OG ones, where we're big enough to have it, where it's one of these cats where I just seen on TV, Dodge, Chevy, whoever, has cars that just drive your ass, man. And then you have like the automatic drive-in Thursday night freaking
bro, I'm gonna tell you something. If I had money like that to just start a business,
that would be a good one, because all these automated cars that just drive motherfuckers there. Well, if you made it a destination.
Well, here's the thing. For the drive-in, the old days you had those little speakers you had to put in your car, but now they have a radio station.
Everybody Bluetooth everywhere.
No, we didn't Bluetooth. It was a radio station. You just go to your car and turn to
I'm saying today, every little kid could have Bluetooth in their ears, walking around watching the fucking movie, man. Like the big silent disco bullshit.
Bro, if I had the money, if I had that kind of money where I could just open a business, I'm sitting there on millions back during the pandemic. The first thing I'd done when they said shut the country down was open up a damn drive-in.
Right.
Even if you only have it during the pandemic, which is like a year and a half or so, depending on what state you're in, 2 years, that money would have been amazing, because that would be the only place you can go see movies.
Yeah.
You know,
it's just an app. Everyone gets the fucking speakers. In the old days, you had to move your car, get it one little speaker here, or if you're lucky, you got it early, like you said, put one in one window, one in another.
well, like I said, now when they closed, by the time they actually the last 20 years or so they've been open, they had it on the radio. So you just turn to the radio station. If you roll past the movies and you knew the radio station, you could turn to the radio station and listen to the movie for a good 10 minutes before you get out of range.
Right.
Well, you can,
One as a destination on these freaking cars that just drive people places. Man, I was like, I saw this, I'm like, give me one of these cars. I don't want to drive either. I want to press a button and be driving fucking 15 feet out the door and go, doot, doot, doot. Beat me up, Scotty. Got my ass to Daisy. Miss Daisy, go ahead.
You know, it'd be great if the cars worked and it was safe and it wouldn't run over and killing people. That would be great. And it'd be great because then, you know, if you are drunk, then the car could drive you home.
Or just old, like we was talking earlier, blind motherfuckers going, oh, I can't see shit. What the fuck?
Yeah, when you're driving, you don't really notice as much as how many other people are squinting.
80 miles away. Huh?
Oh,
Yeah, you don't
the problem with cars. Either one of you ever watch Some More News?
What is that?
It's a show on YouTube called Some More News.
No.
It's spraying from Gary Gnu.
That's a joke, dude.
It's spraying from a college. Yeah. Show.
Great space.
So the last episode was about car insurance and cars in particular, because America's made it so you have to have a car. You know, public transportation is not a lot of places, and places aren't really walkable. Most people live 20-minute drive, at least 27 minutes from their house to their work. So, you know, they made it so you have to have cars. And they didn't mention this. This is something I happen to know. Is in California, there was a railway being built for public transportation that would connect all the cities, so you wouldn't have to have this fucked up highway system. And what had happened was the three largest corporations at that time, I think it was Dodge, Ford, and Chevy, banded together, bought the whole system and dismantled it.
Right.
To make you have to have a car. Now, the problem on a car is it's twofold. One, insurance. The insurance company is another monopoly. You know, a thing you have to buy. Reagan forced that on us, where you have to buy it. And it's illegal to not have it. And when something happens, they don't want to pay you. But you got to pay them, because if you don't, you go to jail. It's like this weird-ass system. And then the other part is the parts. So it's, you know, the fixing shit, you know. If anything breaks, the mechanics and stuff. Most mechanics, they get their business from the insurance. And the insurance, they get to say whether your car's worth, whether it's worth, whether they wants to pay you or whether they're not going to pay you. You got to go to their people and their mechanic who's going to try to give you a shitty, you know, deal.
He's going to pull his rent out of your, or his lease or his whatever out of your car needs to be fixed.
Yeah. Anything he's losing. Yeah. So it's insane, the system they have with these cars, particularly with the insurance companies that you got to go through, and even the mechanics. It's like 85% of Americans don't trust a mechanic, but it's not the mechanic's fault. They're getting fucked, and well, you can't not make money. Not in America.
Not in America.
And then there's also the electric vehicles. Well, you would think EV vehicles would be cheaper. They're not. The reason they're not cheaper is because mechanics overcharge for any kind of repairs, because they lose money on maintenance, like oil changes and shit. So to make up for that, they overcharge on any other repairs.
So that just seems to me like just basic tricks inside of capitalism. Somebody is screwed in one area, and they just got to screw the other people in the other area in order to stay with their head above water.
You just could have made a decent rail system.
Hey Willie, I'm gonna ask you a question we asked yesterday. Willie, what is the best concert you ever saw, and what's the first concert you ever saw?
The best concert I ever saw was Kings of Comedy. At the United Center in Chicago. The first concert I ever saw, I think it was Bobby Bland and B.B. King. Wow. Yeah, I think it was them.
I told them my first was Jackson 5 Dancing Machine.
Okay.
And what was yours, Sean?
The Osmonds.
The Osmonds.
The Osmonds. Okay.
And Tom?
My sister's birthday present.
Def Leppard and Billy Squier.
Dude, you're another person that was on here yesterday and said that.
No, he is the guy from yesterday. He's the guy. He is the guy from yesterday.
Okay, I'm like, what the fuck? Hold up, man. How many fucking times you see people at the first concert? Because, yo, that's a good one, man. Yo,
who was it?
Like, okay.
Def Leppard and Billy Squier.
Billy Squier.
I'm gonna look here. I got that ticket.
Here, how about this, you guys? How about this one? The best concert I ever saw. I'm about to blow your mind with this one. The best concert I ever saw was Bill Cosby at the Puyallup Fair. He walked out. The entire crowd stood up like some military shit. And then he did 2.5 hours straight and had everybody rolling. Nobody moved from their seats for 2.5 hours. I'm able to break the spell and look around at least. And I look over and the people at the concession stand were standing up outside of it, leaned up against it. The workers.
Damn. Best concert.
Nobody moved for 2.5 hours. He at about the 2-hour mark walks into the crowd and starts signing people's shit while he's telling stories.
Oh, nice.
And then he put his hand up to say goodnight. Everybody stood up. It was military shit. And a Cadillac picked him up on the side of the stage. He hopped in it and took off.
Damn.
Because Bill Cosby and George Carlin had a standing bet on who could get off the stage and get to the airport the quickest. Cosby told that story after Carlin died on Leno, and he also told that he had stolen one of Carlin's voices, and after that, Carlin never spoke to him again.
Damn.
How about that?
Well, you can't steal from people. People don't like that.
I don't know about concerts. Maybe,
you know what?
Rage Against the Machine with the Beastie Boys at the Tibetan Freedom concert. Maybe.
Oh, that's cool. I met Tom Morello at the Occupy Seattle, and he's actually in my video. And I said to him, what would be a better national anthem? And he said, Woody Guthrie's This Land Is, what is it called?
My Land.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, what about America the Beautiful, with the Ray Charles version, with the second stanza first? All beautiful, for heroes proved, and liberating strife. Right? And he said, well, you have yours, I'll have mine. And we laughed.
Well, I tell you what, I was working for the Intercontinental Hotel, and Ramsey Lewis was staying there. Now, first of all, let me tell you this. Ramsey Lewis was the coolest dude I ever met in my life. This dude dripped cool. He made Snoop Dogg look like a nerd.
Hey, now, first of all, Willie,
made Snoop Dogg look like Urkel.
Willie, with P. Diddy on trial, you can't be talking about meeting celebrities and they dripped on you.
Like, what
he didn't drip on me. I don't know where you get that part from. You inferring stuff. He dripped cool. Was cool. You know.
By the way,
I said he made Snoop Dogg look like Steve Urkel. He was cool as hell. He had a smooth voice and everything. So I'm talking to him, and I see him the next day. The next day I have my album, Swinging. And he looks at me. I'm like 22, 23. And he looks at me and he goes, no, I'm 20, 24. He looks at me, he's like, you know when this record was made? I said, yeah, 1956. Can you sign it? So I'm talking to him, and he gives me, reaches in the pocket, pulls 2 tickets out. He was playing with Jonathan Taylor at Orchestra Hall, Symphony Center now, but it was called Orchestra Hall back then in Chicago, downtown. So I take a date and we go. These guys jammed. When they finished, 15-minute standing ovation. They come back out and did a 30-minute encore. It was the most amazing jazz concert I'd ever heard in my life.
Wow.
They was
the craziest standing ovation I ever heard of. That's a pretty good one. The craziest one I ever heard of, comedian Dwayne Gold. I told him that I saw this thing about Richard Pryor, and he said that when he was doing stand-up in his head, he was pretending to be in his living room, just trying to make his friends and family and other motherfuckers do sit-ups in their seats. And I told Dwayne Gold that story. And Dwayne Gold said, you know what? I was at the Comedy Store, and Eddie Griffith went on, and he only did 20 minutes. And everybody's like, what's Eddie Griffith doing? He always does an hour. And then Eddie Griffith went, ladies and gentlemen, Richard Pryor. It's like a month before Richard Pryor died. And Eddie Griffith rolled Richard Pryor on the stage in his wheelchair. And Dwayne Gold said, before Richard Pryor even started, the crowd clapped and cried for 20 minutes straight.
Wow.
He said, then Richard Pryor did an hour from the wheelchair, and comedian Dwayne Gold from Canada, who could do the moonwalk, said to me, he said, my stomach hurt for a week. Richard was making them do sit-ups in their seats, and his stomach hurt for a week.
Richard was amazing, though. He was on a whole nother level. I always tell people, if you ever watch JoJo Dancer, it was semi-autobiographical. Okay, I have the album through his life, and you can hear where he changed, and it's that scene. So Rich's, he was on Laugh Factory. Okay, when Rich was on Laugh Factory, his jokes were like, it was jokes. It wasn't him telling stories. It wasn't him telling his life. It was jokes. Black Dracula, stuff like that. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, man, what's wrong with your teeth? Shit like that.
Vinyl versus Dracula.
Yeah. So, which was good.
He said, Dracula, what kind of name is that for a nigga?
Yeah.
Like I told you, man, that was the first album I ever bought.
Won't you get your teeth fixed, nigga? Won't you get your teeth fixed, nigga?
The first album I ever bought was that. And then, oh my gosh, I'm a little dumb white dude running around doing Richard Pryor in the ghetto getting beat up.
So Sean was a little kid listening to Richard Pryor, repeating it in the streets, getting beat up. Just like I saw a kid maybe about 10, 12 years ago. He was a little white kid in the alley going, I'm Rick James, bitch.
Right? So now, by the time he got to Warner Brothers, what he did was this heckler chick started fucking with him because he was having a hard time on stage. Because people don't know, he's one of the greatest, but he's had hard times too.
Right.
Live on Sunset Strip, with that red suit, that's the second night, because the first night he bombed.
Okay, well, yeah, anybody can bomb. Here's another.
Let me finish. He was having a hard time on stage, and this woman was fucking with him, and he said, you know what? He just got mad, and here's the thing. He was trying to be Bill Cosby, and Bill Cosby had met him and told him, you can't beat me, you gotta be yourself, But he was trying to be clean cut, be like Bill Cosby, because that was a famous comedian at the time when Rich was trying to get his shit started. And this woman pissed him off, and he just finally said, you know what, bitch, if you don't like the show, get on your big ass titties and walk your ass out of here. And everybody started rolling. And at that moment, a light went on. And Rich was like, fuck this. I'm going to just be who the fuck I am. That's when everything changed. That scene is in JoJo Dancer.
And that's when they ended up soon after that, they started banning him like they had banned and boycotted Red Fox. And the craziest concert maybe ever might be the year where for 6 nights a week in Vegas at Red Fox's club, it was Red and Richard for 6 nights a week, every night of Monday. How could you know that was happening and then miss it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's Red and Richard? I mean, you talk about a healing. Also, Willie, we found out that Red Fox and Malcolm X lived together for somewhere 5 years or so.
Yeah, they used to do crime together too, and they worked as on the trains together.
And this lady said
it was
that
known as Detroit Red and Cincinnati Red.
No, he was Chicago Red, and Detroit Red. Yes, and this one.
No, it wasn't Chicago Red. Cincinnati Red.
Well, I just saw Red say it was Chicago Red.
Well, okay, I might be wrong then. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. I read it because I read it years ago.
No. So you know, Willie. I thought so too. I thought it was St. Louis Red and Detroit Red, and I've been telling people that for years before last week. Because last week I watched like 15 Red Fox interviews, 24 albums I listened to, and I watched 11 episodes of Sanford Son yesterday. Okay, so
I read it.
But anyway, the point I was trying to make was
decades ago in Malcolm X's autobiography.
The point I was trying to make was that a lady said that, when she was referring to Malcolm X on his 100th birthday on Monday, she said that she always thought about Malcolm X as the man who never smiled. And I thought, well, if you were roommates with Red Fox for 5 years, how could anybody make you laugh after that?
Well, Ozzie Davis, during the eulogy of Malcolm X, spoke about him smiling.
He had a beautiful smile.
Mm-hmm. And his sense of humor. So, I mean...
Well, you know, for years we said that
that always reminds me of Samuel L. Jackson at the end of Long Kiss Goodnight, when he's being interviewed by Larry King, and he says, "Well, how do the ladies find you? Or what do the ladies call you?" And he says, "Well, and I always with the ladies, I like to be frank and earnest. In New York, I'm frank. In Chicago, I'm earnest."
That's funny. That's funny. Well, that's very funny. I've always thought that Malcolm X's House Negro versus Field Negro was actually a beautiful piece of stand-up social commentary. And
what we got here? What we got better than here? Right. I had that album.
Right. But have y'all heard?
Yeah, I have Malcolm X albums like I have Collie albums.
I gotta do that shit again. What is that cat you would be spitting out when Ingersoll? You'd have your guy, Willie. What's his name?
James Baldwin.
Alan Watts.
Yep. There's a cat that he would. I remember one time on here, y'all was like going back and forth, like this dude got some shit here, whoever the fuck it is.
Well, Ingersoll, nobody can mess with Ingersoll. Not to mention Ingersoll showing. I'm gonna go pull up some Ingersoll right quick for us this morning. This is Ingersoll's God in the Constitution. He said, all governments derive their powers from the consent of the governed. In this country, it is admitted that the power governed resides in the people themselves, that they are the only rightful source of authority. For many centuries before the formation of our government, before the promulgation of the Declaration of Independence, the people had but little voice in the affairs of nations. The source of authority was not in this world. Kings were not crowned by their subjects, and the scepter was not held by the consent of the governed. The king sat on his throne by the will of God, and for that reason was not accountable to the people for the exercise of his power. He commanded and the people obeyed. He was Lord of their bodies, and his partner, the priest, was Lord of their souls. The government of earth was patterned after the kingdom on high. God was the supreme autocrat in heaven, whose will was law, and the king was supreme autocrat on earth, whose will was law. The God in heaven had inferior beings to do his will, and the king on earth had certain favorites of officers to do his. These officers were accountable to him, and he was responsible to God. And there you go. That's the first paragraph of that. I will...
4 hours of this man just spitting out shit that y'all can't even comprehend.
Right.
And then I need a damn thesaurus, dictionary, and real rewind, and y'all don't get that in 1800 whenever old boy's spitting this.
And this is how it ends. He says, "We have tried the government of priests, and we know that such governments are without mercy. In the administration of theocracy, all the instruments of torture have been invented. If any man wishes to have God recognized in the Constitution of our country, let him read the history of the Inquisition, and let him remember that hundreds of millions of men, women, and children have been sacrificed to placate the wrath or win the appropriation of this God. There has been in our country a divorce of church and state. This follows as natural sequence of the declaration that governments derive their powers from the consent of the governed. The priest was no longer a necessity. His presence was a contradiction of the principle on which the republic was founded. He represented not the authority of the people, but of some power from on high. And to recognize this other power was inconsistent with free government. The founders of the republic at the time parted company with the priests and said to them, "You may turn your attention to the other world. We will attend to the affairs of this." Equal liberty was given to all, but the ultra-theologian is not satisfied with this. He wishes to destroy the liberty of people. He wishes a recognition of his God as a source of authority, to the end that the church may become the supreme power. But the sun will not be turned backward. The people of the United States are intelligent. They no longer believe implicitly in supernatural religion. They are losing confidence in the miracles and marvels of the Dark Ages. They know the value of the free school. They appreciate the benefits of science. They are believers in education, in free play of thought, and there is suspicion that the priest, the theologian, is destined to take his place with the recromancer, the astrologer, the worker of magic, and the professor of the black art. We have already compared the benefits of theology and science. When the theologian governed the world, it was covered with huts and hovels for the many, and palaces and cathedrals for the few. To nearly all the children of men, reading and writing were unknown arts. The poor were clad in rags and skins. They devoured crusts and gnawed bones. The day of science dawned, and the luxuries of a century ago are the necessities of today. Men in the middle ranks of life have more of the conveniences and elegancies than the princes and kings of the theological times. But above and over all of this is the development of the mind. There is more value in the brain of the average man of today, of the mastery mechanic, of a chemist, of a naturalist, of an inventor, than there was in the brain of the world 400 years ago. These blessings did not fall from the skies. These benefits did not drop from the outstretched hands of priests. They were not found in cathedrals or behind altars. Neither were they searched for with holy candles. They were discovered not by the close eye of prayer, nor do they come in answer to superstitious supplication. They are the children of freedom, the gifts of reason, observation, and experience, and for them all, man is indebted to man. Let us fast to sublime declaration of Lincoln. Let us insist that this, the Republic, is, quote, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Robert Greene, motherfucking Ingersoll, 1833 to 1899. This speech, God in the Constitution, is from does it say? It does not say where it's from. It was. I'm gonna wait. Listen. It is the. Here we go. This appeared in the Arena in Boston in January 1890.
He wrote that up and put it in the paper.
He wrote that with a candle and a feather, motherfucker.
Alice Watts said something in one sentence that pretty much breaks that down.
Wait a minute. Wait. Did you just say some other motherfucker could say all that in one sentence?
Not all of that.
I gotta hear this, man. He's through that night to the minds of the eyes of the.
Wait, let Sean go.
Let's hear it.
Let Sean go because
he breaks it down. He breaks it down like this. It is principally from white racist Christians that we have the threat of fascism in this country because they have a religion that is militant. Now, if you look around, who voted on Trump? Who's trying to get rid of habeas corpus?
That's a good sentence. That's a good sentence.
That's the sentence you put up against this dude with a candle and a feather against the fucking times of 1800.
Let Sean go.
Let Sean go. Print it up on a newspaper. You broke it down in 10 seconds.
It's the same thing. It's basically.
That's the best.
Wait. Let me read some more Ingersoll. Here he goes. Here's the second paragraph from the top. He said,
"Oh my God,
the feudal system was supposed to be in accordance with the divine plan. The people were not governed by intelligence, but by threats and promises, by rewards and punishments. No effort was made to enlighten the common people. No one thought of educating a peasant, of developing the mind of the laborer. The people were created to support the thrones and altars. Their destiny was to toil and obey, to work and want. They were to be satisfied with huts and hovels, with ignorance and rags. Obey, to work and want." He said, and their children must expect no more. In the presence of the king, they fell upon their knees, and before the priest, they groveled in the very dust.
Yeah, Trump is our king.
That makes me think about something. Have you ever heard the Joker? The Joker. As comedians, you guys gotta hear the Joker by Alan Watts, because he talks about the history of the Joker. He talks about the fool, the king's fool, and how, like George Carlin, or at the White House dinner, the fool is the only one who's allowed to make fun of the king to his face.
Yeah. I'm getting your head chopped off.
Right. So
laugh at his own stupid.
Yeah. So, but he goes through this this speech about this stuff, 3-hour thing.
Okay, wait. Okay, Willie. Let me get back to Ingersoll. This is different Ingersoll. This is Ingersoll. Listen. This is the first paragraph of Ingersoll's speech on individuality, 1873. He says, on every hand are the enemies of individuality and mental freedom. Custom meets us at the cradle and leaves us only at the tomb. Our first questions are answered by ignorance, and our last by superstition. We are pushed and dragged by countless hands along the beaten track. Our entire superstition, our entire training can be summed up in the word suppression. Our desire to have a thing or to do a thing is considered as conclusive evidence that we ought not to have it. He's so filthy. Y'all don't understand. He said, a monarch. Okay, y'all are the noisiest motherfuckers on the planet all of a sudden. A monarch said to a hermit, "Come with me."
You gotta stand and listen for 20 minutes. We gonna smoke shit.
Okay, no, I'm not.
You're in the background going into 1800s. Fuck with the motherfucker. This dude goes 19 or 20 or 25. I got you in 17 words.
How about this?
No,
I think.
Name that too.
How about this? Here. How about this sentence? He said, "The church hates a thinker for precisely the same reason a robber dislikes a sheriff or a thief despises the prosecuting witness. Tyranny loves courtiers, flatterers, followers, fawners, and superstition wants believers, disciples, zealots, hypocrites, and subscribers. The church demands worship, the very thing that no man should give to no being, human or divine. To worship another.
How long is this speech? Because
this is a paragraph of a fucking year.
That is the longest paragraph I have ever heard in my life.
The days of memes, man. Old boys got a fucking everyone going.
We need to get back in the conversation instead of reading to each other.
Well then, then don't bring up somebody comparing to Ingersoll. That'd be like trying to compare somebody to Carlin or Ella Fitzgerald. I'm like, nigga, please.
No, I wouldn't say that. First of all, there's a lot of comparisons.
No. I didn't say that you shouldn't. I just said you can't.
Yeah, you can. I just did. Yeah, you can.
Right.
What you mean you can't?
All right.
Stick your dick in there. I did, man.
Yeah. See, because
wait. Here, let me give you a couple.
The difference.
Here, wait.
The difference.
Wait a minute. You interrupt me in the middle of motherfucking Willie. You interrupt me in the motherfucking middle of sentence. But I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna read 2 sentences. He said, "Whenever brave blood has been shed, the sword of the church has been whet. On every chain has been the sign of the cross. The altar and stone and throne has leaned against each other and supported each other. The priest," he said, "the king ruled by force, the priest by fear, and both by both. 2 vultures born of the same egg."
Yeah, motherfucker wrote a lot of words.
The difference between those guys
It's good words.
is Ingersoll is trying to change the thoughts of a nation. Alan Watts is trying to change your personal thoughts.
So Ingersoll would write editorials in the newspaper in response directly to what a preacher said in his sermon and fuck him up.
Nice. See, Alan Watts just traveled the world doing what do you call them? Lectures, 3-hour, 4-hour lectures, sometimes longer.
Has Alan Watts defined himself politically?
Alan Watts defined himself as what did he call it? A spiritual entertainer.
All right.
A spiritual entertainer. Okay.
Yeah.
He didn't pick no vote. I ain't putting my vote down.
Right.
Ain't going behind you. Y'all can't pay to play.
Right. He wasn't down with no group. He was anti-religious, and like I say, he was anti-religious. You know, and he was more into the Tao. You know, more of the Buddhist type thought process. You know.
But Ingersoll would clown the Buddhists too. How hard is he would clown everybody?
Well,
and how he broke it down was
Buddhist.
He said how he said it was, once you know why you don't believe somebody else's religion, then you'll know why I don't believe yours.
Okay. Just like Alan Watts said, you have every right to believe that every word in the Bible was inspired by God. You have every right. I don't agree with you, you know, but you have the right to believe it.
And
I have the right to not agree with you.
Right. Well, how about this? Ingersoll said, in my judgment, every human being should take a road of his own. Every mind should be true to itself, should think, investigate, and conclude for itself. This is a duty alike incumbent upon the pauper and prince. Every soul should repel dictation and tyranny, no matter from what source they come from, earth or heaven, from men or gods. How about that?
I mean, that sounds great, but we're in Trump's America.
Right.
No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. That is you conceding something that ain't true.